Hi there, this is Molly Willson, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about something very personal, but something I believe that a lot of women struggle with. This is digestion. And primarily, I want to talk about how our bodies have a hard time digesting food when we're stressed, right? So, this is all about stress, the nervous system, and creating mindful habits that help us digest our food so we can feel better and get the energy that we desire. So, before I dive into this episode, I'm going to do the product of the podcast. This is where I spotlight a product or service that I offer so that you know how I help people and how you can work with me. The product of the podcast today is my human design informed Reiki session. This is a healing session where I use your human design chart to figure out where those specific blocks are and use the language that speaks directly to your soul. This is a 90-minute session because I like to have some time to talk over your human design chart with you as well as do the complete healing process. So my human design Reiki session is extremely unique to me, and you won't find that anywhere else. So if you're looking for a very transformative, deep healing, and validating experience, go ahead and book a session with me. You will find that link below. That is my human design informed Reiki session. Okay, so back to the episode. The reason why I want to talk about this is because I have a very personal story that goes along with digestion. Many years ago, I would say probably starting in college that I can really remember. So back in 2009 was when I graduated high school. So during that time, when I went off to school, I started having really bad symptoms of digestive problems, so bad to one point where I just couldn't eat because I was not going to the bathroom. Now, TMI, I understand, but this is a serious problem, and I think very, not really talked about. And so that's why I'm talking about it. But the point being is, back in school, my body went through a major transition, right? I left home and I went to college. I had to use dorm bathrooms shared with other people, and I was eating different food. I had just so many options, so many choices. And then in addition to that, my rigorous curriculum, new friends, and all of these changes just really created stress in my body. Now, what I always say is that stress can sometimes mask itself. And that was what my experience was. It was turning into hypervigilant and extreme perfectionism. And I was very hard on myself with school. So that was a very significant time in my life, was during college when I realized, something with my digestive system was off. Fast forward many years later, I was still experiencing similar problems. At that time, I was using tons of supplements. I was going to different specialists and trying different diets, eliminating things, thinking that I was just so sensitive that, something was really wrong with me. And I just wanted to get to the root cause of why I wasn't able to digest food well, why I was so bloated. I had horrible pains, gas, and just discomfort in my gut. And I thought it was I thought it was me. And over the course of a few years, I started experimenting outside of the traditional medical model, and then also looking more into alternative practices, like what's going on here. And then I learned about the nervous system. Or I learned more, I guess. I learned the connection between the mind and the gut. And I realized that there was a serious problem here. And it didn't really have to do with what I was eating, but it had to do with how I was eating and how the state of my body was. So I started to do some research, and I learned more about mindfulness. I learned more about how stress affects digestion and ways that I can slow down ways that I can help. So it took a while. It's not healing your gut. It's not an overnight process. But I began to incorporate mindful eating practices. And outside of like traditional meals or like my mealtime, I also worked on those mindfulness components as well, because the rest of my life was also crazy. As a young professional, right? I was in a new relationship then. I was trying to figure out who I was. I was just kind of stuck. I felt like I was taking on so many different things, but I didn't know how to let go of them, how to release them. And quite honestly, that was what was happening in my digestion. It was very symbolic, right? Very metaphorical. I was holding on to all these things, trying to control everything, trying to do things correctly and be well, but my body was also holding on to things and not processing and not digesting and not doing the things it was supposed to. So there's irony in there. But coming across different protocols with traditional Chinese medicine, with Ayurveda, with yoga, with mindfulness, I discovered that my digestive system was not operating because my nervous system was not operating. I wasn't bringing myself into that rest and digest state. I was in this hypervigilant, this hyperarousal, the fight or flight mode, the response mode. And I was not in this relaxed state. And for many women, this is a common experience. We are dealing with so many different things in life. We're processing emotions, we're processing other people's problems because that's just natural for women. And we really have a hard time creating those boundaries for ourselves, creating the rituals and the routines that help us slow down, relax, receive, rest, digest, and allow our bodies to function normally. So over time, I learned these techniques and I kind of found a nice formula that works for me. And it differs for everybody. And I do believe that, at various stages of nervous system strengthening, nervous system strengthening, we need different tools. But for me, I found a few in my routine that really help. But the reason why these mindfulness practices are so important is because of this central nervous system, the system that governs most of our organs. It governs those functions that we cannot see. So breathing, digestion, metabolism, cell and muscle tissue repair, our immune system, our lymphatic system. So all of these things are dependent on the state of our nervous system. And if our nervous system is in this hyperarousal state, the other functions are compromised. They don't operate as well. And so that's why we have multiple problems or things manifest differently. And so with the digestive system being connected to the nervous system, when we can bring ourselves into a mindful state, a present, intentional, relaxed, the digestive system is ready to move. It's ready to go, which again, for many women, this is a big problem. So I wanted to talk about this today because mindfulness and mindful eating, food, the relationship we have with food, the relationship we have with our body is so important. And if we are disconnected from how we feel, if we are not able to get into that rest and digest process, that state of being, everything is going to be off. Our intuition is going to be off. Again, our gut instincts will be off. Our mental clarity is off. Our moods are volatile. What we believe, what we know, what we see, what we sense, all of these things are affected. And as women, we are so sensitive, so intuitive, so wise. But when we are distracted with pain and discomfort from our gut, that message that to our brain about our intuition, about things that we know, is unclear. It's quiet, it's false. It might even be, the signals might not even give you proper information. And that is our wisest gift as women, is our intuition, is our knowing, is our internal power. But when that gut is not operating well, when we are in pain, when it is tight and it's tense and we're holding on to things, those clear messages can't get to our minds. We can't make correct decisions. We don't take aligned action. We feel horrible. We don't feel good about ourselves. I remember so many days like I just didn't want to go out because I was bloated or I didn't feel good. My gut hurt. My old partner this is a big issue with us, and I think a huge stressor for me at that time was feeling bad about it, not knowing what to do, like feeling like I wasn't being supported or empathized because of my issue. And it was something like they just didn't understand. And that alone is stress. Not feeling supported, not feeling seen and safe. That puts the body in that fight or flight mode. That puts us in the stress mode. And that is so important for women. It is so important for us to come together, be in community, have pure, honest connections, have a place where you can openly express yourself, what's going on. Because when you do, you let all of that out and you get to relax. Your gut gets to relax. Your nervous system starts to settle. Everything else, your functions begin to move better. And because of this, I am so passionate about the mind-body practices. I'm so passionate about helping women connect with their true self, connect with themselves, their bodies, their wisdom. But you cannot do that if you are stressed. No, there's definitely no way. You have to be in that relaxed state. You have to allow the digestion to flow. Otherwise, your gut signals, those signals aren't going to be clear. So I have a very, very special offer coming up. Very special program that I will be doing for women with this experience who need gut support, who need help figuring out their tools, need help feeling heard. Help them with this mind-body connection and digestion. So if that is you can definitely reach out to me for more information, but I will be sharing about that in the upcoming weeks about what I'm doing, how I'm helping you. And with that, I invite you to take a few deep breaths, deep belly breaths, in through your nose, deep into the low belly. Exhale out through the mouth, relaxing the shoulders, softening the chest, letting the belly extend and just relax. Allowing yourself to do that a few times throughout the day. Activating the vagus nerve, the nerve that sends that signal up to the brain that you are relaxing, so that you can get into that state of flow. So that is all I have for you today. I will be on again next week with more. Be sure to subscribe, share, comment, like this video, and I will see you next time.